Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Medeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम. Namaste once again, all of you. There are 20 participants, 17 attendants. So 3 people who have not marked their attendance, please do so.
Sorry, Raghuji, it took some time for me because I went to the VS Vishnu Sahasranama and it was telling he is in another meeting. I'm so sorry because
That's okay.
Anyway, I'm here before the class started. That's good.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, good, good. So we are seeing the qualifications required for a sadhaka to undertake the spiritual journey through Vedanta study, right? And in that we have already seen 2 qualifications. The third one, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, is what we started in the last class. And in that also, we have just started the qualification which is Shamaha. So Samadhi Shatka Sampatti are 6 disciplines, internal disciplines or self-disciplines, which one needs to follow. And they are Shama, Damaha, Uparamaha, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. These 6 we discussed in the last class. So we are seeing one by one what are the details of each one of them. So Shamaha very broadly can be translated as mind control. But as I said in the last class, we must be very careful in understanding this word control, because we must not understand it in a sense of, controlling it or suppressing it, or, or what I can say, creating a stress in that mind, right? So that is not meant by mind control. Mind control basically is directing the mind to function in a manner that we want the mind to function. Instead of the mind dictating to us what we should do, we should dictate to the mind as to what the mind should do. That is what is called the mind control here, right? And this is very important because for mental peace, as we were discussing, manashanti, which is another way you can understand this word shamaha, manashanti, the peace of mind or the poise of the mind or tranquility of the mind. It should be a mind which is free from stress and strain. And as we know, stress is a very big problem we all face today. And when we saw that 5-fold benefits of the self-knowledge, one of the important things that we noticed was, or we understood was, a mind which is not stressed is a functional mind. It is an effective mind. It is an efficient mind. We saw examples and all that. So it is very important that when we come to the spiritual path or Vedanta studies, our mind should be available to us for undertaking the studies, understanding what Vedanta wants to say. And we must note one thing. Vedanta subject matter is a very subtle subject matter. Very sukshma vishayam. It is a subject matter which we cannot access with our five sense organs. When you talk about Brahman, Atma and all that, they are not available for any kind of an experience through sense organs for us. So if we have to understand what that Atma is, or what that Brahman is that Vedanta talking about, we must have a mind which is prepared, well prepared, which is without any other stress, strain and all that, a free mind and available mind for understanding such subtle aspects. And the other aspect is that not only the mind should be free from all the other disturbances, it should also be subtle. It should be a fine mind, pure mind. So these are all very, very important when we come to Vedanta study. That is why Shamaha is actually emphasized right at the beginning of this Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. As mind is the place where learning takes place, intellect, mind and all is the place where the learning takes place. When we are studying, when we are hearing, the first place all these things get registered is in the mind. And then the mind transfers this information to the intellect, what we call buddhi. Buddhi processes this whole thing and then it stores in the wherever it is to be stored, in the hard drive rather, right? So that it can be recalled whenever we want. So the mind is a very important place. It's the first place where all the inputs are received. So that is why that mind should enjoy freedom from stress and strain. And we are so lucky and fortunate that we are born as human beings and only human beings have got such extraordinary mind, isn't it? And if you ask the question why God has given this kind of a mind only to human beings, the answer is very straightforward. It is only for pursuit of all these things. For doing all other activities, you don't require this kind of an extraordinary mind. Even animals do such activities, eating, drinking, sleeping, all that animals also do. In fact, they also entertain themselves. When you might have seen some two puppies, playing with each other and all that. They also entertain themselves, animals also. So why man has been given, human being has been given this kind of a mind, we must understand there is a purpose of Ishvara. So we must actually understand and then use that mind for that purpose. Okay. So the mind has to be light enough for us to carry and learn whatever we have to learn. And moreover, this manashanti or this stress-free mind is required for maintaining our physical health also, isn't it? A person who undergoes stress constantly for a long time, for a sufficiently long time, is bound to have various kinds of physical problems. So therefore, the physical health also requires, good physical health also requires a stress-free mind. And as we have seen earlier, it's only when the mind is calm and peaceful, we can make use of that mind. A stressed mind will actually be a useless mind for us, for whatever we want to do. It's like a virus infected computer, the stressed mind. You can't use it, it will hang, right? And this is not just for saying. Sometimes, we will see that suppose we have to do 2 or 3 things within a very short period of time. Everything is important. The amount of stress levels which will go up in the mind, you will experience that you don't know which to do first and where to start. And this is a very real problem for most of the people, especially in these days, when we are living in so many stress ridden atmosphere. Everything that we do or we touch is a source for stress and some sort of a strain in our mind, right? So once upon a time, they were all the psychologists were actually focusing more on intelligent quotient, IQ. Today, the management gurus are focusing on EQ, emotional quotient. They don't look for very intelligent people in management. They require balanced people, people who can handle all situations with a balanced mind, with a focused mind. Be it labor problem or problem with the suppliers or problem with your factory machinery, anything. If you have a good degree of emotional quotient, EQ, what they call, you will be a very good manager, a good leader. That is what is required. For leadership also, the leader, the followers, the people who follow the leaders will be of different types. So if you have to manage all those people, what is important is the EQ, the emotional quotient, right? And whenever we acquire this knowledge, how to use that knowledge effectively also depends upon the calmness of the mind that we have. Okay. So this mind control, this shama is important for maintaining good physical health, for maintaining calmness of the mind, and also for the spiritual journey. This is very important, right? So it's one of the most important qualifications, and Lord Krishna talks about this in detail in Bhagavad Gita, right? He says that this manashanti alone can give us happiness. No happiness is possible without manashanti. This is what the message says. So the first discipline is required is the stress management. And the author is not saying how it is to be done, right? Because one assumption, it is clear from the author. He is just telling all these things, assuming that you already know all these things. So he is not going into too much details, how it is to be done and all that. When he says Shamaha, he feels that you know to some extent what he is talking about. So he doesn't go into details of all these things. In fact, he seems to suggest that I don't care how you do it, but if you want to come to Vedanta, you better have this Shamaha. Okay, a balanced mind. And there are other texts like Bhagavad Gita itself gives you a lot of how to develop this Shamaha, this poise of the mind. Gita is there, so many other texts are there. So if we are seriously interested in developing more and more Shamaha, we must refer to those texts and learn from that. Okay. So this is Shamaha. Now we'll go to the next one, Damaha. So the student is asking, Damaha kaha? And the author or the teacher is saying, Chakshuradi Mahendriya Nigraha. First he said Mano Nigraha. Here he says Chakshuradi Mahendriya Nigraha. Right? So Indriya Nigraha, again we must understand as mastery. Nigraha means not control, but mastery. Okay. So Indriya means sense organs. Right? Bahya Indriya means the external sense organs. Because we know that the mind is an internal sense organ. It is a antakarana, internal sense organs. But that sense organ, that mind gets all its inputs through these 5 external sense organs. That is why he says Chakshuradi. Adi Padat, you can add other one, this eyesight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, all this. All 5 you can add, you can understand. So these are all external sense organs. These sense organs get the input from the external world and then pass it on to the mind. Then the mind actually receives this, and then the mind is in a dilemma actually, whether I should do it or not do it. That famous to be, not to be thing is all the mind problem. So what the mind does, it actually gives it to the intellect, buddhi. It's not process. I mean, it is just like what happens in a computer. So the buddhi processes it and then say that take this, reject this. For that, your vasanas will come into the picture. So this is how the process takes place, and so this all our sense organs, which are external, bahyendriya, they are to be managed in such a way that they do not allow any unnecessary things to enter into our mind, because they are open, isn't it? So all good things, bad things, everything will enter our mind. So this is bahyendriya. This sense organ should be managed very well. It is like channelizing those sense organs into the right areas. It's like damming a river, right? There is a river is flowing and there's a spate, and then all water goes and joins the ocean. So what happens is we don't get any water of the river to use for our irrigation purposes or drinking water purposes. So what we do, we construct a dam and collect that water, and then use that water for whatever we want. So similarly, lot of things are coming inside through this bahyendriya. So we must create some sort of a dam structure for each of those indriyas and make sure that all unnecessary things are all removed from there, and only like water, good things are stored, what is useful for us are stored in that. And then only that is passed on to the mind for decision making. Okay. For example, if a student comes to the class, there is some sound coming. I will mute everybody again. A student comes to the class. His ears should be directed towards what the teacher is teaching, isn't it? And at the same time, his mind should back up what he's hearing, because mind is receiving all this hearing, all this that is being told rather. But if the sense organs do not cooperate, what will happen? The student will be here, but he will not hear. So being here and to hear, you must direct that sense organs to be open to receive what is being taught. And only that will go into the mind rather. Okay. And there are several reasons, in fact, why this control over or managing of the sense organs is required. One, as I told you, our mental condition is dependent upon the sense organs. For example, if we see a very gory scene, some accident scene, eyes will just see that. Eyes will not react. It will open and then you will see that. Where does the disturbance take place? In the mind. Isn't it? That's why there are warnings and all come, this is not meant for children and things like that, or this is very graphic, something, I don't remember the exact wordings, but warnings will be there that if you have got that kind of a, mind, don't watch this. So whatever inputs we are getting through the sense organs, the mind gets affected by that. So that is why one important reason why we must manage the sense organs, where they go, what they do, what they see, what they hear, what they smell, what they taste, all these things, we must be very, very careful and manage that, all those things, right? Because that will go and affect our Shama position. And because of that, what will happen? There will be a security problem for the mind. If everything is entering our mind, whatever we hear, see and all, everything is entering our mind, there will be a security problem. Well, that's what happens in airports and all. When there is a security problem, what the security people do, they will check with all this, they've got this metal detectors and all that, even frisking, physical frisking. They will do all that to ensure that no terrorists and unwanted people are entering the aircraft. Similarly, we must do for everything, every activity of each one of our sense organs. There is a security check we must do. Because the world offers you all sorts of things, good, bad, ugly. It is for us to choose what is it that we want. So, like the frisking done in the airport, this, what we mean by damaha is this frisking of the sense organs for allowing only the useful things, the things which are good for our spiritual growth to enter our mind, and then reject everything else, keep everything else out. Many of us watch these TV serials, right? And what is our experience? Every serial, of course, I stopped watching long ago, but that's a different matter. But every serial full of violence and all wrong values are being portrayed in the serials, highlighted rather. Even though the purpose of the producers must be to highlight the wrong values and teach why these wrong values should not be adopted. But what comes across is that people seeing those things happening, their mind becomes totally disturbed. I have seen some ladies asking question, why is this fellow doing like this? Or why that lady is doing like that? Array, you ask your family people what they will know. All this script has been written by somebody else. That to that extent their mind get disturbed, and they take a lot of these things for real. So we must be very careful what are the things that we are allowing our the sense organs to import into our mind or download. Because the download, I mean, we use the computer, we are very careful in downloading what we want to download. Why? Because along with many of these downloads, a lot of viruses can come into the computer. And it can completely debilitate the computer, it will stop working. Similarly, lot of virus can enter our mind through these 5 sense organs. So we must be very, very careful. It's a very important discipline for a sadhaka, right? And as I said, again, all these things, the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is discussed very, in good detail by Bhagavan Krishna. He is advising Arjuna. So we'll now go to the third discipline, Uparamaha Kaha. Right? Third question. And very strangely, the answer is Swadharma Anushtanam Eva. That is what the author is saying. This word Uparamaha has got several meanings. One meaning we can take is maintaining the peace of mind, which means in Damaha, you have actually gained the peace of mind. In Shamaha, you have gained the peace of mind, but that peace of mind has to be continuously maintained. And that process of continuously maintaining that peace of mind is called Uparamaha. This is one meaning of Uparamaha, right? Then the second meaning of Uparamaha, which is normally taken, is Sannyasa Ashrama, a monastic life, right? That is also called Uparamaha. But here, the author is giving a third meaning, a different meaning. He says, Swadharma Anushtanam Eva. And this we have to understand what is the author wanting to say. Let us briefly see what is meant by Swadharma Anushtana. Anushtanam basically means following or doing. What we can say, practicing. Anushtana. Anushtana of what? Swadharma, one's own designated activities. You can translate it Swadharma as one's own designated activities. So practicing or adhering to or following or doing one's own designated activities can be called Swadharma. Now the Shastras, when they are talking about Swadharma, or for that matter any activities relating to the Shastras, here it does not relate to Swadharma is not that eating, drinking and all, no. They are related to the karma anushtan, anushtanam of the karmas which are prescribed in the Shastras. Now the Shastras basically talk about 5 types of karmas. Nitya karma, Naimittika karma, Kamya karma, then we have got Prayaschitta karma and Nishiddha karma. So these are the 5 types of karmas which Shastra talks about. Now, when you are talking of Swadharma Anushtanam, what is the prescription of the Shastra? We will see. Nitya karmas basically are those rituals or the practices which one needs to do very regularly. Not necessarily daily. Daily also means regularly, like a Sandhya Vandana karma, Nitya karma. But even other karmas like, doing the Amavasya Tarpanam regularly, they will all come under Nitya karmas. Those which have to be done regularly, that are Nitya karmas. So Nityam should not be understood as daily only. Nitya means regular. Then Naimittika karma. Naimittika karma are those karmas which one has to do or perform on certain occasions. For example, there is a Janmashtami, Krishna Janmashtami, so you do a puja. This Krishna Janmashtami puja or Ramanavami puja. Or certain months, we do different, puja and all that. So many Naimitya karmas are prescribed in the Shastras. And all these Naimittika karmas, they have to be performed with as Nishkama karmas. If they are performed as Nishkama karmas, then they will give Chitta Shuddhi. And mostly Shastra says this Naimittika karmas give you Punya. Right? But the Punyam for a sadhaka is what? Is Chitta Shuddhi is what his sadhaka is looking for. Somebody is going on unmuting. I think some sound is keeping on coming. Oh, not okay. So these are Naimittika karmas which have to be performed on occasions. The third is Kamya karmas. Kamya karmas are those karmas which you have to perform to get something, obtain something, some desired result. For example, there are Kamya karmas you can perform to go to Swarga after your death, not now. Similarly, this Putra Kameshti Yaga, Kamya karma, to get a son, like Dasharatha performed, the Putra Kameshti Yaga, he got 4 sons. So like that, there are a lot of Kamya karmas which are prescribed in the Shastras, which if one performs and performs it properly, exactly in the way it is prescribed in the Shastras, those results one will certainly get. These are Kamya karmas, right? Then there is a fourth category, Prayaschitta karma. Prayaschitta karmas are sort of, what you can call it, medicine type karmas. You have actually done some wrong actions in the past, because of which you have earned lot of papas. Papam has accumulated. And those papams are creating some sort of a obstacle in your current activities. So you go to a astrologer or somebody, some Nambudri or somebody, he will tell you, there are these papas are there and they are creating all these obstacles. So you do this prayaschitta karma. As a prayaschitam, you do this karma, then this will be neutralized. The past papas will be neutralized. These are prayaschitta karmas. In fact, the annual this upakarma we do is one of the biggest prayaschitta karmas. Because that's a general prayaschitta for everybody. Whatever I have done, not done, doesn't matter. I am doing prayaschitta now. So that if at all there is anything in my account as papa karmas, let them be neutralized. So as I said, they are like medicinal karmas. So when we get a headache, we take some medicine. So the effect of that headache or that pain will be, for at least for temporarily, it will be subsided. So this prayaschitta karmas. Then the last category is nishiddha karmas. Nishiddha karmas are those which the Shastras prohibit. You should not do it. And what are those karmas? Nishiddha karmas are those karmas which may bring some benefit to you, but which are harmful for others. Because in certain kind of tantram and the tantrigam and all, they say that some people practice black magic and all that. I don't know much about it, so I won't deal with it in detail. But to give you a practical example from today's life, smoking. A person who smokes can get probably some benefits or some pleasure he will derive from smoking. But he is actually creating a lot of problem for others through the passive smoking. People around him, he should not do it. That's a nishiddha karma. Similarly, when Shastra says Suram na pibhet, you must not consume liquor. Why? It's a different thing that smoking liquor and all will spoil your body also. But they are all detrimental to the society, detrimental to the people around you. A highly intoxicated person will not know what he is doing. In fact, just to share with you, there is a maid servant who comes to our house every day. For the last 2 days, she has not come. You know the reason? Day before yesterday, at night, the husband has come fully drunk. He could not walk properly and this lady was sleeping on the floor. He has fell over her. He has fallen and then she has the chest, some concussion has taken place and she couldn't breathe because of the heavy weight falling on her. Then she had to be taken to the hospital, X-ray and things like that. And all. Today also she has not come. Probably she may come tomorrow because it appears that there is no, serious problem. It was only a shock which she was suffering because a huge body fell on her when she was sleeping. Why I am giving you this example, it came to my mind because the Suramna Pibet does not necessarily mean that if Shastra is telling you for your own good. These things, all this Pratishiddha, this Nishiddha karmas which Shastras prohibit are not only for your own good but for the good of all the people around you also. So these are the Pratishiddha karmas. These are 5 types of karmas which Shastras talk about. And what do they say? For a sadhaka, For a person who has come into spiritual journey, the first two type karmas should be increased. And the last three type of karma should be completely avoided. Nitya karma, Naimitika karma should be only done by a sadhaka. He should avoid any prayaschitta karma. He should avoid any nishiddha karma and also kamya karmas. He should avoid. But when we just step into Vedanta, it is not possible for us because we have been doing all these karmas for so many years, maybe so many janmas. It is only in this janma we have got the Ishwara's grace to come to a Vedanta class or understand what Vedanta is all about. So, what the Shastra say is that you need not do it overnight, but as a sadhaka, as a spiritual seeker, what you should do, you must gradually reduce the unfriendly, the Vedanta unfriendly karmas, you can call it. Unfriendly means kamya karma, then this prayachita karma and nishiddha karmas. Gradually reduce the Vedanta unfriendly karmas and correspondingly increase the Vedanta friendly karmas. So if you have come to Vedanta and if you have been, gone through the Upakarma or the Upanayanam ceremony, the Nitya Karma is what? Sandhya Vandanam, Trikala Sandhya Vandanam. So Vedanta says start with that. When you come for this, at least start with your daily 3 times Sandhya Vandanam. And the morning Sandhya Vandanam, Pratha Sandhya, when it has to be done before the sunrise. So get up early, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, take your bath, do everything. And before the sunrise around 6 o'clock, do your Sandhya Vandanam. Start doing these things. Really, I'm telling you, it will help you bring lot of chitta shuddhi, lot of discipline in your life. If you get up early in the morning, 4:30, first of all, such a fresh, atmosphere is there. You will get to inhale lot of fresh air, not the polluted air. So many benefits will be there. And then you have a lot of time with you to do so many things when you get up early. Initially, if you are not used to it, I can understand it will be difficult. But it is said that if you force yourself to do something for 40 days, it becomes a habit. So for 40 days, you force yourself to get up early. 41st day onwards, it will become your habit. You won't be able to sleep after that. Automatically, you will get up and go about all your karmas and things like that. In fact, in our families and all that, the olden days, even ladies used to get up early in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and immediately they will take their bath. Then they will light the lamp before the altar of the Bhagavan where we have, and they will go to the kitchen and then clean the kitchen and then start cooking, clean the stove and all, start cooking. They will put rangoli and all that. Such a reverential approach of life we had. Everything is lost. Ladies themselves, many of them are getting up at 8 o'clock. This man gets up early only because he has to go to office. Otherwise, he will also sleep. Sunday comes, Sunday is the day I have to sleep till 10 o'clock. So much of tamasa guna the people have. So if you want to come to Vedanta, qualification is get rid of all these things. Otherwise, don't come. Be happy. Go on doing what you are doing and enjoying your life within quotes, right? So this is the important thing, which is the karmas, which is what is called the third one, which is uparama. So another thing I told about smoking, eating also, what you eat, what you don't eat. Because certain food categories, though may be very tasty for your tongue, are actually Vedanta unfriendly foods or food categories. In fact, they may even have some physical health benefits. But Vedanta says that they actually are inimical to your mental health, to your psychological health. So avoid that. For example, onion and all this garlic and all that. You see, these sannyasis, they don't eat all those things. In no ashram, they will serve you all these things. Why? Because they are focused on Vedanta. All this is for good for Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna and all. If you don't want Sattva Guna, because one of the main approaches for all these Shama, Dama and all is increase your Sattva Guna, because that is what is important for your Vedanta studies, for your spiritual journey. Become a Sattva Guna Pradhana human being. There should be domination of only Sattva Guna in your entire life after you have come to Vedanta. So the whole process is reduce the Rajo and Tamo Guna component, which are now quite prominent, isn't it? And increase the Sattva Guna component. That is the whole purpose of all this gaining this qualification. The sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is nothing but approach to the three gunas. What kind of a proportion I should have in my life for this study. So you must have maybe 60 to 70% sattva guna, maybe 10 to 15% or 20% rajo guna, 10% tamasa guna. That is required, because otherwise you will not sleep. Tamo guna is required for sleeping, taking some rest, required for the body. Rajo guna, body will be tired doing so many activities. So that body requires some rest. So tamo guna is required. So roughly this is the, you can say 60 to 70, 10 to 20, and then 10% balance, or whatever it is, or 10 to 20% balance, tamo, right? So this is what is all about Uparama. Okay. So this balance has to be brought, and then increase in the Sattva Guna has to be attempted. For that, we have to watch everything that we are doing. High degree of awareness should be there. Whenever the mind is getting attracted towards something which is not Vedanta friendly, you must take a stick and beat the mind. No, you will not do that. You will not read anything which is creating a disturbance in your mind. You will not watch anything which is creating a disturbance in your mind. Like that, we will have to direct the mind and prevent it from going into the wrong things. But suppose there is going to be some lecture of Swami Paramarthananda. Then you tell the mind, listen, go and listen to that lecture. That is going to be useful for you in your spiritual pursuit. If that is what your goal in life, I must say that it's not everybody should be doing all these things. It is not said. Once you have a goal in life, you have to do everything to reach that goal. If you have a goal in life to become an Olympic, runner, you have to do everything in terms of what you eat, how you eat, when you eat, how you sleep, how much exercise you do, how much practice you do, all those things. You have to do it. And then only you can actually aspire or even enter into the qualifying rounds of Olympics. You can't say, I will do everything that I want, and then I want to go and run in Olympics. Is it possible? And that is why we must observe the lives of successful people. Success in any field. This is the secret. They focus only on their goal. This is my goal. And I will focus on it and do everything which I need to do. But how will I know what all things I should do? Then there are, for those people, there are coaches who tell them, and there are, manuals and, so many materials available. For spiritual seekers, Shastras are available, Gurus are available. Ask them, they will tell you what you should do if you are serious about your spiritual goal. Moksha. If you are serious about moksha, if you are serious about getting the 5 benefits which we talked about earlier, if you are serious about getting the self-knowledge, knowledge of the self, or Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana, You have to do everything that is prescribed. You can't say, I will do this also, that also. Then you will be drowned actually. One leg in one boat, another leg in another boat. What will be the condition? The fellow will drown. That is what will happen. Okay. So the essence of the Suparama is that we have to focus only on the Vedanta friendly activities. And other Vedanta unfriendly activities, we must reduce their component in our life to the maximum extent possible over a period of time. This has to be a continuous process. Now let us go to the next discipline. So student is asking, Titiksha ka. What is meant by Titiksha? So the Acharya is saying, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkadi Sahishnutvam. That is Titiksha. And this is a part of the Shamadhi Shakka Sampati. We must remember that. That is what we are discussing. Actually, this Titiksha is not only very important for spiritual seekers, but also for everybody. Actually. Literally translated, we can understand Titiksha as forbearance, capacity to endure anything in life. This capacity one should develop, everybody should develop. Because ultimately, that capacity, increased capacity to endure anything in life is what going to help us in confronting serious problems in our life. So this endurance, and for a spiritual seeker, for a sadhaka, it is very, very important. Because in the course of the spiritual journey, you don't know what all obstacles you are going to face. Where are all you will be able to, you will be required to go and learn. One of the biggest seats of learning today of Vedanta is Rishikesh. Many ashrams are there, all very, what are leading ashrams are there. Of all Mahatmas, Kailas ashram, then even ashram of Shivananda ashram, Swami Chinmayananda ashram, then Swami Dayananda Saraswati's ashram. So many ashrams are there, all Vedanta ashrams. And in winter, in Rishikesh, you know what is the temperature? You are coming from a very nice climate from Tamil Nadu. Never ever seen. Even when the winter months of December, you will actually put on woolens in Tamil Nadu. I've seen people doing it in Coimbatore. You go to Rishikesh in winter and then see whether you have Titiksha or not. You will run away within 2 days. So much cold will be there. And your guru will tell, get up at 4 o'clock, take your bath and do Sandhya. Finished. You can't sit on the floor. It will be so cold, the floor. So this Titiksha is a very, very important qualification, not only for spiritual seekers, but also for everybody else. Our Jamaats who are there in that Leh, Ladakh and all that, they must have an extreme amount of Titiksha to bear that minus 13 degrees, minus 20 degrees cold there. In fact, I humorously say that our people who are working in the Gulf, like Dubai and Kuwait and all those places and all, they have excellent amount of Titiksha, because in summer the temperature goes up to 50 degrees, 60 degrees there. If you are traveling in a car, by mistake, if you actually pull down your window and keep your hand on the windowsill like this and drive for a few minutes, I can tell, and in summer when the temperature is 55 degrees or 60 degrees, within 3 minutes you can see the whole this place has become black. I have experienced it, that's why I'm telling you. So hot. Workers, for 2 months during summer months, this building construction activity is not allowed there. In all these Gulf countries, they don't allow. You know why? These workers, when they are, in that heat, if they work on the tall buildings, they will actually die, and because of the heat, and then fall from that building. So these extremes, extreme cold and extreme hot conditions, we will have to face in our life, whether we are a sadhaka or not. How will you face it? Titiksha. What he says? Shitoshna sukha dukkadi sahishnutvam. Shita Ushna is what? Cold, extreme cold and extreme heat. Sukha dukkadi is what? Extreme happiness, elated, jumping around with joy, or extreme sorrow, totally depressed. This titiksha is required for managing such situations, to endure such situations, to overcome those kind of situations and get back into the balanced mind, calm mind, not allowing all these situations, experiences to disturb your mind. This is what is titiksha about. And he has given only sukha, dukkha, shita, ushna and all that. This kind of a thing we can actually, take so many other examples also. Raga, dvesha also are extremes. That also you must be able to manage, balance the raga, dvesha in such a way that it doesn't affect your mind. Because the whole purpose of this thing is chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi you can only have when you remove the mala from the chitta. And what are the malas? All these things are all the malas. A simple example: if you are a sadhaka and studying in a gurukula, hot summer, classroom will maximum have a fan. There won't be any air condition, anything like we have our home, and that if the degree, 30 degrees it crosses, immediately we put on the AC, everything, and we want to feel comfortable. There it will not happen. To compound the problem, there will be a power cut. Even the fan will not work. You will be sweating. Sanskrit teaching will be going on. Already you are finding the problem of Sanskrit very difficult to understand. On top of that, you are having this problem, heat. Oof, kind of a thing, right? So hot, so hot. So what? You have to keep your mind calm and focus on the teaching, irrespective of what the weather condition is. So this is all you can do only if you have this qualification, titiksha, endurance. Okay. And Puranas actually are very useful in trying to understand and trying to find role models for this titiksha. Right. Even Bhagavan, Ram, Krishna and all that, their lives, just because they are avatars, their life has not been very smooth sailing, They might have born with some silver spoon in the mouth, but they also face much worse difficulties in their life as compared to what we face actually. A king, a prince, 14 years sent to the forest. Nothing. Only one kutia he has got there. That too, he himself has actually done it along with his brother and wife. Whatever food you get, whatever you get in the forest, you eat that food. You can't get chole bhature and all that, in the forest. He has to eat. 14 years, a prince was like a, big palace he was living, and he was about to be crowned as the king of Ayodhya. This is what he underwent. And then in that what? To compound that problem, he loses his wife also, kidnapped. Many of us will be happy if that happens to us, but Rama was not like us. We have not learned from Rama that wife being kidnapped is a good event. Just a joke. So, wife getting kidnapped, and this fellow, he doesn't know what to do. He goes on crying and asking everything, trees, monkeys. Did you see Sita? Did you see Sita? I mean, such a pathetic situation. Who? Rama, avatar of Vishnu, has undergone. Then he has to get his own property back, not property, get his own wife back. He has to fight with that Ravana. A big fight where he doesn't know how to fight this fellow. Ravana is such an accomplished guy. He doesn't know how to do it. He's standing in front of Ravana, who is all ready completely to fight Rama. I am not going to give you back your wife. Who are you, Rama? You are a human being. I am an Asura king. I can just finish you. I have got Shiva's blessings, everything I have got. I have defeated so many people. Kubera and all I have defeated. Who are you in front of me? Such a tiny character. Rama doesn't know what to do. He knows the power of Ravana. But for Agastya Muni, who gives him the secret by way of Aditya Hridayam Stotram, he says, you stay this Stotra, Rama, Vijayam will be yours. The Aditya Hridayam Stotram starts with this only. Samare Chintaya Stitam. Rama, in the battle, Chintaya Stitam, he is very worried. Seeing what? Ravana and his armies. Ravanam cha agrado drishtva yuddhaya samupastitam. Ravana is fully ready for the war. And Ravana is chinta, full of chinta. How am I going to fight? And that is when Agastya Muni goes to him and tells him that I can understand your problem, what you are thinking in your mind. Say Aditya Hridayam. Say this Aditya Hridayam Stotram, then Vijayam will be yours. So, when we understand and see these kind of personalities, they have undergone such great difficulties. If some small difficulties come to us, is it not possible for us to manage them, overcome them? Should we actually, have we faced any better, worse difficulty than what Rama faced in his life? None of us have faced. And these are the lessons we have to learn from this Ramayana and all. Krishna, for that matter, Avatara again, born in a jail. If we go to a police station itself, our neighbors will start looking, why this fellow went to the police station? Or if a police cop comes to our house, there will be so many raised eyebrows. Krishna born in the jail. And how much in the initial stages he has to undergo. This Kamsa trying to finish him off through Putana and all the stories we have seen in Bhagavatam and other things. So, all these avatars and all, they themselves have undergone so much of problems in their life, so much of difficulties in their life. Their life has not been smooth. And when we compare all those, when we read, understand all those and compare all those with the problems that we face in our life, these are what I can say, like peanuts. Our problems are like peanuts. So these are the lessons we have to learn. And for us, even to manage these problems, we find it difficult. So how we can do it? By developing more and more titiksha. This is what we have to understand. And for that, as I said, there are a lot of stories. Nala Damayanti story, another very big story. Those of you who know that Nala Damayanti story, you will know what, for saying the truth, what all difficulties that he had to undergo. So many stories are there. Our Puranas are full of, the message we should get from Puranas is not entertainment. All these spiritual messages is what we should get from the Puranas. If it has happened to those people, what am I? I am a small fellow. For me, this is nothing. I will develop the capacity to bear even worse situations than this. That is what is Titiksha. More we will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. Very question.
Dhanyavada Guruji.
Dhanyawad.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you just
Guruji?
tell the... I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, any question? No?
Yeah. You want to go ahead or shall I? Guruji, I was wondering, are there any karmas prescribed for women specifically, besides their designated jobs as caregivers?
So many are there.
Like what?
Lalitha Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Parayanam.
Mm-hmm.
See, it will give you the same result if you do those karmas with the attitude of Nishkama karma. When you are doing all these Parayanams and things like that and all, in your mind, you must be clear that I am not doing this for any material benefits. I am doing this only for Chitta Shuddhi. You have that sankalpa at the beginning in your mind. And then do this Parayanam, Lalita Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam. In fact, you know, in Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankara says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasra. What does he say? Geyam means you must chant, you must sing. Geyam literally means sing, but we can take the meaning as chant. Two things he is advising. Gita, Bhagavad Gita. If you can't chant the whole Bhagavad Gita, it will take a long time. One chapter, in a day you can chant. And in fact, if you actually chant one chapter for a week or 15 days, that chapter, you will be able to next time chant it more easily rather. Because the words and all will become very clear. So have one schedule for Gita chanting every day. It will take one chapter, I tell you, will take not more than 10 minutes or 12 minutes maximum. Then also have a schedule to chant Vishnu Sahasranamam once every day. You can do it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, whenever you get time. Chant Vishnu Sahasranamam every day. That ladies can do, and they will achieve the same thing which men do by doing Sandhya Vandana. So so many things are there in our Shastra. We just have to understand the relevance of them and do it. That's all. So this is what I would say for ladies. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just missed taking down the Shabdarth of Sahishnutvam.
The Sahishnutvam what?
The Shabdarth, the Artha, the word meaning.
Titiksha.
Sahishnutvam. What is the meaning of Sahishnutvam?
Sahishnutvam means the capacity or capability to bear.
Okay.
That's why I said forbearance or, what other word I can use? Bearance capacity.
Endurance.
Endurance.
Tolerance also.
Sahishnutvam is endurance. Yeah, you can say.
Tolerance also.
Tolerance is milder. Endurance is stronger.
Thank you.
But tolerance also, you can use the word. It's also all, because different shades of meaning only different. But ultimately, what we have to understand is anything that we face in our life, good or bad, we must have a balance to bear that. That's all. The mind balance should be there. Okay.
Guruji, can the mantravadis, tantravadis take advantage of the nishiddha karma?
They can. They can. I mean, normally, if they are really very professional and approach the whatever they are teaching with reverence, they will not do it. But there is always a risk.
Danger.
Danger is there. That is why Vedanta says that don't get into that at all.
Get into that at all.
Don't get, because there is, you can't say, like for example, politicians who are
correct.
they are supposed to do good for the people.
Absolutely.
So we have a solid example day in and day out we are seeing. So similarly, anybody when he understands that he has got a certain power, there is a possibility of misusing that and using that also. Both are there. So what we should do, Nitya karma, Naimitika karma, in fact in another context, if that comes, I will explain. In Vishnu Sahasranamam, that will come. I will explain this in Vishnu Sahasranamam. These two karmas, they don't involve any third party. You have to do it yourself.
Okay. Yourself. Self.
For example, I was just talking about Vishnu Sahasranamam. See, at least Sandhya Vandanam, you will require one, Panchapatra,
Panchavatram,
water.
Yeah.
Vishnu Sahasranamam, nothing is required.
One thing is required.
So my advice to people is, if you are finding doing Sandhya Vandanam difficult, doesn't matter. Chant Vishnu Sahasranamam. Every day, make it a point to chant Vishnu Sahasranamam. Once in the morning, take bath, sit before the altar, clear your mind, do
Concentrate.
pranayamam, anulom vilom pranayamam before you start, which will actually settle your mind, and then chant Vishnu Sahasranamam once. Very good karma, nothing better than that.
Absolutely.
Not that only ladies should do. If you can't do Sandhya Vandanam, many people, they don't do Sandhya Vandanam because they don't know how to do it. It's a problem. And they find it difficult. Oh, at this age, should I learn to do Sandhya Vandanam? Okay, don't do it. If you do it, that is the best. I mean, there's nothing equivalent. But an alternative is that if you don't do it, instead of doing nothing, you can do Vishnu Sahasranamam, and all these things don't involve a third party at all. Vishnu Sahasranamam doesn't even involve any material also. Purely you are sitting and chanting before the altar, remembering God, bringing Ishvara more and more into your life, your mind. And do this for 6 months and you see the difference. I am giving you a guarantee of all these things, not Shastra. Because I have personally experienced. That is why I can tell you that. Right? So these are all the things that we can easily do without any problem. The Chitta Shuddhi which we get by Vishnu Sahasranama is the same Chitta Shuddhi we will get through Sandhya Vandana Karma also. Or any Nitya Karma or any Naimittika Karma also. So we can do all those things. You not necessarily do only Kamya Karma, Putra Kameshti Yagam, this Yagam, that Yagam, this Puja. My son is not getting married, so let us do one Prayaschitta Karma for that. All that, don't get into it. Son will get married when his time comes. When the karma obstacles are there to come. In the meantime, you do whatever these karma, Nitya Naimittika Karma, keep doing. That punya that you earn through that will automatically neutralize the bad karmas also to a large extent. In fact, all these things we will see in more detail when we come to the law of karmas towards the end of Tattva Bodha. Sanchita karma and all that, how they actually interact, what are they, we will see in more detail of those at that time.
Okay.
Any other question?
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
We'll carry on next week.
Hari Om.
Thank you very much.